Good morning, Stella.
Welcome to Ghana.
Thank you.
How are you finding Ghana?
Peaceful as always.
Peaceful as always?
Yes, peaceful as always.
Okay. Because they said your inflation is also high in the U.S., so you are encountering virtually the same problem.
Yes. It's not easy out there as well. We have a new president, as you know, President Trump, and he has his own agenda, challenging the status quo. And as you've been reading the news, trade wars here and there, cutting aid here and there, and just focusing, quote unquote, primarily on the American people. And
but is that even helpful to the Americans?
Well, to a certain degree, maybe yes, and maybe no. Maybe yes because they have a high deficit now.
Okay.
They have a high deficit that requires almost, I think, if they want to catch up in the next decade, they have to spend almost $4 million a day in payments. So it's a huge deficit that they have. The American, the debt is pretty huge. And so for that purpose, I believe that is what is, driving
him.
Yes. But also, America has literally been the most dominant, nation if you talk about, the current civilization. And we are no more in the unipolar world no more. In the multipolar world where you have other competitors. You have China in there, you have Russia in there, you have India coming up, and Africa also coming up strongly. Therefore, whoever leaves a gap, somebody will fill it. And then somebody will lose certain dominance, somebody will take it and run with it, and that's it. So they will lose a certain influence. They're already losing, influence. So, well, that's the cross that...
Because the USA has become a platform through which America is at a certain level of influence. In many countries. So taking it out alone means you lose.
Yes, and it has political connotations as well. That is between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. That is a whole different ball game. I don't want to speculate, but it appears that it's going to take a toll on the Democratic Party.
What he's doing.
Yes. And like I said, some discussions better discussed out there. But we'll see.
But are you feeling the impact of the tariffs there? Because he's gone into Canada. And Canada, it is not a matter of the fact that you use Canada, because there's trading between the US and Canada.
Yes, they're literally twins. Canada and United States almost the same. It's everything almost the same. This, I would say, would affect Canada more. Because Canada gets more from the U.S. than the U.S. gets from Canada. Canada literally gatekeeps a lot of their businesses and doesn't allow the U.S. to come in terms of the banking sector, et cetera, because they want to keep their indigenous businesses running. But then the United States is not bothered about it. But now that Trump is saying that if you're not allowing us to come there and do businesses as we want to do, then there's no point in giving you all these reliefs, et cetera, et cetera. So that is something that would affect Canada. But with China, I'm not too sure. China, going against China today, I don't know.
They're everywhere.
They are everywhere. Okay. What China has today is something that was or has been built steadily over decades, systematically for today. All right? They invested in their human capital. They took them out there, studied, brought them back, considered their past history, and decided to change the narratives by doing something different. They have survived the propaganda, the global media propaganda tool, everything that they've used against them to become who they are. Now they are the means of production. They are the global means of production now. Okay, United States cannot survive right now without China, in the sense that China has cheap labor. The United States can't afford that. the United States can't afford that. What a China person will do in China and get paid like $10 and it'll be fine. You have to pay the U.S. citizen like almost $40.
Okay.
Yes. So that by itself, the United States doesn't have the capacity to do that. So what it means is that the cost of production in the U.S. would always go high. That's the reason why you have iPhone, Apple, etc., being produced in China and other parts of the world, India, etc., because of cheap labor.
Okay.
You know, and the United States has cost of production is super high, and if you attempt to go toe to toe with China, you're going to throw off your economy.
I see.
Yes, it will require like 40 to 50 years of consistent build up all over again. You have to restructure your economy.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, but I hear Ken Oforiatta is in. Did you meet him when you were coming?
No, actually.
Oh, you were looking for him?
Yes, I was hoping to find him.
Oh, okay.
I was hoping to find him. When the news broke, what I did was that I called one of our members, a doctor. I said, Chief, RC, can you look at this and, provide me some details? And so he got back to me and said, oh, yes, indeed, the hospital is indeed legit. However, whoever that issued the, what do you call it?
Yeah, and it's a medical report.
Report, right. It's within the medical fraternity.
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Quote unquote. You can easily get somebody just to get that.
Write that for you.
Yes.
Okay.
But what is most important is for the hospital, for the OSP, to contact the hospitals and the hospital to confirm that yes, this patient is under our care.
Okay.
We are taking care of this person, and we anticipate that we'll be done with him during this period.
Okay.
And then after, things can pick up from there. But I don't know if the
OSP has done that. Get in touch with the hospital and find out.
Yes, and there's the release itself was a bit questionable.
Okay.
Right. According to the hospital, they are looking into his health conditions and a possible surgery will be conducted, etc. And the thing is, you've not even conducted a test on the patient to tell whether it will, he will need a surgery or otherwise. So for you to go ahead of some of these guidelines itself creates doubt, because some of the doctors that we have was like, this is a little bit unconventional. You've not conducted a test. You've not been provided with all the facts on the ground, and yet you're going ahead to prescribe what is likely to happen.
Okay.
So it gives room for us to be a bit. It raises doubt.
So according to the medical professionals you're speaking to, you cannot tell the solution without first testing for the public.
Yes.
You haven't done the test
You've
yet,
not done the
and you
test.
are talking about a surgery.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So they advise that probably the OSP may have to be very proactive in this and provide more details.
Okay.
And the hospital must own up and say that, yes, Ken Oforiatta is under our care and we are taking care of him.
Okay.
Yes, and within this stipulated time, we believe that we may be done with him, and then you can have him.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I see.
we are watching. We are watching him.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, and nice to see you. I get to see you once every year. You appear once every year.
Yes.
That's if you are lucky.
Yes.
Yes. That's another APPIAH, who is president, NDC, pro from North America. Now that they have America and Canada are fighting, how do you balance it?
No, we are at peace.
You are at peace?
Yes, we, the comrades, we have no beef in...
I see.
Yes, the ideological war going on.
I see. Albert, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you doing?
Very good. I'm good.
Well, what do you make of this whole tussle between Ken Oforiatta and Special Prosecutor? Because there are those who say they are trying to play pillow with our lives and everything. And they think that this looks staged at some point.
I wouldn't really put it like it's a stage thing. I obviously I can't say on air, but I see a bit more strategic move in what he did.
Okay.
Other than that, I wouldn't have had Oforiatta being in Ghana at the moment.
Okay. He's in Ghana.
Sorry, talking about coming to Ghana. Sorry, talking about coming to Ghana at a specific, time period.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay.
He would have be playing the usual game. I'm sick, I'm this, I'm that, I'm in the hospital, I will have to report to the doctor, So probably this, like I said, I can say what I believe the strategy is. And obviously, I think that it is, and it worked perfectly.
Okay.
So, yes. But then the ridiculous part of it all is that Kenneth Furiata suing
the
OSP. That you are a wanted person. I mean, how does that even happen? Like,
you said he has tarnished his reputation. Now
what reputation is that? As the people's livelihood is destroyed over the past 80 years. People's investment is destroyed. Have they taken him to court? Have they even done anything to him? He's talking about his reputation. People died, for Christ's sake. Has any of their family members sent him to court? And he's more what? His reputation is, what reputation is it actually? That what? He rode on government of Ghana, people's taxes. Not even people's taxes. Saddle government of Ghana or people of Ghana with debts, even to as we speak, we have bonds that we have to pay to the year 2061. 2061, if people don't know, we have bonds that we have to settle. Unless we have
2061.
2061.
Okay.
Unless we have some money or we get some money from elsewhere to settle before then, it means that we'll have bonds that are maturing in 2061. And he has the audacity to say what? That, and out of that, he rode on that and made his and his company, Data Bank, made millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars out of those. And Ghana is saddled with so huge debt burden as we speak, over 700 and something billion. And he has the audacity to say what? His reputation has been what?
Damaged.
Look, so now, some of these things we don't really have to talk about. Other than that, we'll say things that people will take it in the wrong sense, because it's annoying. He should come and then tell that he has a reputation before the aged pensioners, that he's to even think that people who has dedicated their lives and service to Mother Ghana for many years, while Ofuriata and co were somewhere jollifying and then enjoying themselves, save something to live on till they die. They came in, destroyed all those things, and those people, and then they will have to go and then be begging him at the Ministry of Finance without him even paying attention to them. They don't have a reputation. Is that what they want to say? So you see the kind of shenanigans that is coming to play. You can see it. This is just the beginning of it. And some of us, that's why some of us will not even ascribe to some of these things.
I see. Well, Albert is talking about the problem that will confront government moving forward. We'll come to that. I'll go back to ARNOLD, first of all, because I think one of the things that was concluded last week was the matter of the education forum.
Yes.
There was this whole discussion around what do we do with our education going forward, from the basic level all the way to the tertiary level. What do we change? How do we improve it? Big issue, free SHS, among others. I think at the time were you proposing a funding source of free SHS?
Yes.
From NDC Pro Forum?
Yes. We suggested that considering the current economic situations in Ghana, literally everything has been sort of...
Please move the mic closer to you.
Thank you. Is that better?
Yeah. Two things. You move it closer. Albert, move the mic away because of your height. If you get closer to the mic, you speak over the mic.
Yes.
That's not to say anything about your height.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm too tall.
Yeah. Yes, you're very tall. Yeah.
Yes. Like I stated, considering the economic conditions and how the educational sector has been mismanaged by the NPP administration, and I must say that the NPP had the most incompetent educational minister of all time.
Really, which of them? They have two.
The gentleman from California, what is his name? Eddie Chum.
Hey, you see, he's one of the most visionary ministers you've ever had.
No, he's the worst. Let's face it, he's the worst. Some people believe that he owns a school in California and all these, things that they said about him, but the reality is it's not true. It is not true. But most importantly, Proforum USA suggested a couple of things for consideration, and the basis were how the free SHS has been managed over the years. As we stated, it's a great program, super great program. However, the implementation is what has brought the disaster. First of all, funding. We suggested that, considering the economic conditions of Ghana, the government cannot keep, adding more taxes to, Ghanaians, because already, the system is choked with taxes everywhere, Therefore, the government may want to consider, other forms, including, remittances, that comes from other parts of the world to Ghana. The concept is this. Those of us outside, we contribute almost $3 billion to the economy every year. Okay.
That's a remittance.
Yeah, through remittances. Therefore, if the government would want to consider, a levy, whatever percentage, we proposed 0.5. It could be less, it could be more. It will be quite an amount, as a fund or as a base where the government can use to support the free SHS. I remember during our discussions, it was for and against, and we were like, hey, we are already paying, fees and health bills and all these bills, et cetera, et cetera. And if this is what we have to contribute, all right, so that the next generation, can have a better life, why not? So that if my nephew comes to me, I can tell him that, hey, you're already having this for free. The government is providing this thing for you. So it's even a relief for some of us in the diaspora as well. And
so a levy on remittances?
Yes. Yes. I believe that it will be a good idea. The finance minister will work it out and see where it will be appropriate. And compared to Ghanaians, we wouldn't feel it that much if the same stuff is put on, because the economy out there, as of now, it's way better than what it is here in Ghana. So we made that decision. And also we suggested that since we don't believe in politicizing education, the feeding program should be given back to the schools. Should be given back to the schools to manage.
So the way it used to be, the senior high school should handle their
yes.
administration.
And then it has to be a partnership between PTA, all students, and the school in managing the feeding program, because they are managing the schools already. They are producing talent. They are producing all type of human capital. You can't tell them that they can't manage their food. So to avoid all these corruption and the back and forth and unhealthy meals and who is to blame and the politics going on, hey, give it back to them. And let them handle it. So it eases the burden even on government. It eases the burden on government. And also we proposed that satellite facilities through internet hubs be created. Some of our brothers and sisters are the remote areas. They don't get opportunity to have the quality of education that sometimes those of us in the South do have. Therefore, we can set up internet hubs right at various locations to provide remote studies. Therefore, let's say if you have a physics teacher in St. Augustine's College or at the Saddle, right, through remote tutoring, can reach out to these same students in other schools where they may not have even teachers in certain locations, to help bridge the gap and get them also up to speed with whatever system that we're running. So this remote learning it's something that we may want to pay attention to.
Okay.
And then it would also provide as a side gig for other teachers, whether per-seconds, I decide or whatever, they can extend and teach other students elsewhere. So we looked at a couple of factors, and we believe that some of these things will be very, very vital, to the development of our academic system, and many more that we considered, So we believe that remittances will help. Remote studies, through satellite establishment, internet would help give the the feeding back to the schools to handle, and also introduce and put more emphasis on tech training.
Okay.
We have Africa in general has the highest population of youth.
Okay.
We are in an advanced era of technology, especially with AI, robotics, programming, etc., etc. China is what it is today as a result of that.
Okay.
India is where it is today as a result of that. And if Africa has the youngest population in the world, and even in Ghana here, we have vibrant youth, very smart kids that if we give them the opportunity, they will become something else. They'll become the next Elon Musk. They become the next Bill Gates, etc., etc. So if we invest in tech more, right, and also look at it from this perspective, there are certain kids who are very smart in nature with math and science, right? These kids must be given special attention. Okay? These kids must be given special attention with the interest of what Ghana seeks to do in the future. They are good in maths, they are good in science, they are good with technology. These are the ones that in the future will become the consultants, will become the engineers, will become the doctors, will become the programmers for this nation.
Okay.
Give them special attention. Don't convolute, don't, for want of a better word, box them up with almost everybody. Okay, we are all not the same, let's face it. Okay, therefore, when you find people with special abilities, they deserve special attention as well.
Okay.
So that they can add more value to the economy in the future. So we considered that part as well, that kids that are bright in tech, right, please add more, resources for them to maximize their potential. Since these are needs of the nation, we need their human capital for the future. So we consider that as well. And I believe that these are things that would help, for our next phase of development.
Very interesting. When it comes to the matter of funding, and I know you heard what the minister announced. Minister says we are going with uncapping Get Fund, making sure a lot more resources are retained within Get Fund, and then we use portion of that to pay for free senior high school. In its current shape, as it is now, it looks like there'll be some reforms done, but as it is at the moment, in its current shape, they are spending Get Fund. What do you think?
I think it's a smart idea. It's a smart idea. Listen, when you look at the budget, you realize that the NDC is the NDC. The NDC is the NDC. The brains that went into this, you can only appreciate it and say that, look, President Mahama made the right decision in getting Dr. Forson as our finance minister. And the brains that are around him, they did a marvelous job with this particular budget. This budget is human-centered. This budget literally goes into our indigenous infrastructure, i.e. providing relief and sustainability to the local market, which is great. Now, with uncapping the Get Fund, it's the best decision. Look, there are certain sectors, I consider them sensitive. Health, education, finance. These are sectors that, look, and national security, they must not be restricted.
Okay.
They must not. As much as you have, provide them, because it's the soul of the nation in terms of development. You know, so for the finance minister to come up with this idea basically means that he has a much deeper vision. He understands the issues. He knows what it takes for Ghana to be competitive. You know, what it means for Ghana to go global. You know, and what it means in the development of the human capital needed for tomorrow. So I fully support it. And Pro Forum, we talked about it, and we said, look, this budget is the budget of all budgets. It's a budget of all budgets. Indeed, I think it's, I call it a legacy budget. You know, President Mahama means business. Yes. It's a budget that it's so hard to even criticize. It is so hard to criticize. What are you criticizing about? What are you criticizing about? And like we've always stated, we can't use the NPP as a benchmark. The moment you attempt to do that, it means that you're going down the hill. You become a disaster, as they are. And we are not like them. We're not the same, like we always state, right? Sometimes people want to make that comparison, and we always try to differentiate it. These are special group of people. These are special group of people. We are nation builders. We build nation. We invest in people. We are futuristic. We are very scientific. We are socialist. We believe in the empowerment of our people. We believe in equity, fairness, and just. As opposed to those NPP guys, I call them capital consumers. They are not even capitalists. They are consumers of capitalism. You know, all they do is copy and paste. That's what the education minister did, trying to copy the American model, which was not compatible to our system, and got everything wrong. That's why we're running morning shift, afternoon shift, you know, confusing everybody.
And I'll come back to that on the because one of the things that is being proposed is a focus on community-based coding across the world, even in the US. That's what is done typically, and I it was believed that was where John Mahama was going with the e-blocks. E-blocks. But in the meantime, Albert, the proposal first of all on the levy on remittances. I know you look at a lot of figures. How implementable is that?
Of course, any task you can implement it if it's well thought through, and if you engage the stakeholders quite well, for them to buy into the proposal or the idea. But you see, for me, it's this whole discussion around the free SHS and funding it is quite fundamental, and for me, it's not too complex. If you sit down and then just do the right things, you know. Yes.
In terms of funding.
In terms of funding.
In its current
and
finding
funding.
Finding the billions that are needed to fund it in this currency.
Let me interview you. What is the funding for? What is the greatest consumer of the free SHS budget?
What's the feeding?
Good. Now, and most of these things that you used to feed the kids, you can get them in here in Ghana, isn't it?
Yeah.
Instead of exporting rice, for instance, or exporting rice from India, isn't it? Now, you have National Service Authority that is embarking on a lot of agriculture initiatives, food productions and all that, isn't it? Good. Now, why then, and you are paying these national service people, I know. So, how long does it take for you to cultivate, for instance, rice for you to consume? Not more than 6 months, isn't it? Cassava for gari, for their beans. Beans itself, virtually all that. Assuming you are even adding chicken and eggs, virtually the same time period. Assuming you are adding fish, basically the same time period, isn't it? Now, for instance, we are allocating about 3 billion plus to free SHS. If you're going to do that, why then can't we scale up production of those, foodstuffs within the time period, consensuously, we said that, okay, this is what we're going to do. If you're going to use all those money and then go to somebody and then go get those things, then why don't we now scale up production, for instance, the national service thing or any other people that we can bring on board? We have a lot of arable lands, isn't it? Irrigate them, produce for the keys. Now, if you're not even going to just give it to them directly, you can have the national service people selling to the schools. Then the revenue comes to them. You are paying them from that revenue. And then you are feeding the kids. What happens? At the end of the day, you are freeing up a lot of resources for yourself to now concentrate on other sectors or other productive sectors of the economy. You see how the whole thing works. This is not rocket science, and this is not too difficult for you to do. So instead of thinking about going to tax people or tax other people elsewhere, tax this thing elsewhere, where am I going to get funding? The answers are before you.
No, by the way, you're still talking about money.
Yes.
To cultivate, you need money.
Yes. So now, initially, it's always about initial investment.
No, still, the investment will continue, will you not?
Yes.
You still
so that's why I'm
to
saying
spend
that
the money,
it's,
so you
always,
need the money.
it's always about initial capital investment, is an audit. Once you do the initial investment, until you're going to be rolling it over. So you don't have to
because it goes back to the same consumer.
Yes. So you don't have to every year go and look for funding to come and then you do the initial investment. For instance, probably you don't get. Take a terminal 3. Once you've borrowed to build up terminal 3, are we going to look for another investment?
No, because that one you're talking about capital expenditure.
Yes.
But this one you're talking about the fact that you're producing.
Yes.
For someone to consume.
Yes.
Now, when they consume, you have to produce again.
Yes.
So the investment in the production, it's not a one-time thing. It has to be cyclical.
No, but you are scaling up, isn't it? So, you see, the returns are always coming in. So, once the return comes in, you scale it up. It goes. So, at the end of the day, you achieve economies of scale.
I understand your point, but I'm saying that it still will not take out the issue of finding funding.
Yes.
You're just deciding
that
I'm not
saying that it will take completely out the issue of funding, But it has to, the funding, whatever you have, you don't really have to, when you go out there to borrow, then whatever the money is, you have to send it elsewhere, use it to develop your own sectors.
Great.
So that at the end of the day, eventually, you become self-sustainable. Are you saying that, or is anybody suggesting that there's no way we can ever fund just ourselves unless we keep borrowing or we keep taxing everything and everybody before we can continue funding?
But where do we get a revenue from? At the end of the day, we must find money.
Yes.
We must find money. And the money is usually found through taxes, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
Yes. So either way, you must find money. So maybe we can do with the matter of borrowing, which he is not a big fan of.
Yes. I'm not.
No. I know.
I'm not disagreeing with his levy, the levying of remittances. So, but I'm saying that, see, let's also not forget we are growing. Okay. Now, let's say you put money on the remittances, the population keeps growing. The student population also goes up. Then tomorrow, we are not still looking at, let's say, sustainable sources of actually doing that. Okay. Now, let me go back again to the agriculture thing that I'm talking about. Now, you see, when, for instance, the NSS people or NSA people produce whatever they are producing, they are going to sell it, isn't it? And it will be at a profit.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, this profit is a revenue, is an audit. It doesn't go, it goes back into the consolidated fund, you see. So you don't have any option but to always scale up domestic production for you to generate enough revenue. Don't forget, what that I'm saying is about growing your GDP.
Yeah.
Production, domestic production is basically GDP. GDP is just a name we've given it. Are you getting it? So the more you produce domestically,
For your own
of
consumption.
for your own consumption, the more you are also generating enough revenue to fund some of these things.
Yes. And
Without necessarily always taxing, because production is for selling, is that not it?
Yeah.
And people buy it, and nobody produces to make a loss naturally.
Mm-hmm.
You have to produce and make a profit out of it. So the profit will still, and the more you continue, the more you keep making enough profit. Eventually, we'll get there.
And
So
it
at
brings
the
inflation
point,
down.
yes,
It brings inflation down.
yes.
And also,
So that and
ease
because
the pressure on the city.
they are not the only exactly. They are not the only people going to consume that.
Okay.
So once you scale up domestic production, like he's rightly said,
Some goes to the senior high schools.
exactly,
The others are
into the open market
And it creates
all
employment
that.
as well.
Yes, then inflation comes down. Your currency, because you are looking inwards, your currency stabilizes. Some of the distance, the foreign exchange differentials that you lost, you're not going to encounter those problems. Those are all cost savings that can be channeled back into what we are talking about.
Very interesting.
I get
It
it.
stimulates growth.
Yes. And these are not too difficult things for us to do. In fact, this is the basic things we should be doing. For us to get to where everybody is saying the US and whatever,
We realize
Canada.
that, is it Captain Torrey or
yes.
one across
Yeah,
Burkina
yeah.
Faso?
Ibrahim Traore.
Yeah, he's doing
Yes.
some very interesting.
That gentleman is I think is a modern day Sankara. Yes, I don't want to add Kwame Nkrumah to it, but it's a modern day Sankara.
You see, so, and on the uncapping of the GET fund, that is a great thing.
Yeah.
But then I will stress that, yes, in using it to support the free SHS, it should solely go to what it's intended to go into, infrastructure. Ghana Education Fund was set up to bridge
You're saying that even the 3.5 billion to go in.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the GET fund, the uncapping, that is going to, the percentage that will come back to the PT. Because why should we have GET fund that is generating, or that money comes in every day or every year? Yet we'll have GET fund contractors demonstration every day for their payments.
Dachi.
Well, it's
You're forgetting the Dachi bond.
Now we then have to go and collateralize it to take loan.
It's as a result of our fiscal indiscipline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we went yet again back to the one who said his reputation was being tarnished because he knew he was going to benefit from us going to borrow when there was no need for us to borrow. We went and then collateralized, that as well into what Dachi bond.
Yes, that's why I believe
Where
that
he took his commission cooler into his pocket, and Ghanaians now are saddled with, paying debts now the same way they collateralize ESLA. That's something that should be bringing in revenue to us is now a debt burden for us to now be paying. We now have to go and look for money elsewhere to now go and come and be paid. I mean, how? Are you getting? So that's the point that I'm making. Look, we all agree that free SHS has a lot of infrastructure deficit, or the secondary schools have a lot of infrastructure deficit. So
use that
once we are
uncap
uncapping the GET fund, let's concentrate that on the infrastructure side of it, where we use the other, allocation to look at the consumable expenditure that we were talking about. Are you getting it? But I think the focus now more than ever should be food sustainability within ourselves for us to feed. Because, why should we go with all the lands that, why should we go importing food for even our secondary school people?
Well, Arnold wanted to say something?
No. I was just wanted to ask if the law of willfully causing financial loss to the state is still in existence.
I should think so.
If it is,
maybe
if
the
it
lawyers
is in
can
existence, then this time around we should, focus more on it for the purposes of accountability. It is very, very important.
Yeah.
Because it makes no sense for my children to come and pay debts that they never saw how.
Or even benefited from.
It makes no sense. Somebody would have to answer. And for me, let me say this: we do ourselves a great disservice if we say Famanyame. The moment we use that mindset, oh, let it go. You know, Ghanaians have voted for you to come. No. Look, I always say that people vote based on a lot of interest. Some people voted expectations.
Yeah.
Not everyone voted just because they love NDC. No, some voted because they wanted accountability.
Yeah.
And you have to satisfy. Yes,
Yeah.
you have to satisfy that part.
Yeah.
Okay, your inability to satisfy it basically means is that you are encouraging it to continue in the future with the same lame excuse that oh, forget about it. No one get penalized, so it becomes like a pattern. Like people get emboldened that at the end of the day, nothing will be done to them, and it will hurt the NDC the most if we don't instill discipline, bring in accountability, and make sure that the past is corrected. If you look at what we left behind in 2016 and what we inherited, you'd realize that we didn't go forward. We went backwards.
Over 600 billion.
Okay, we went backwards. We didn't make no progress. If you allow these people to exist, the legacy of President Mahama and the NDC, God forbid should we lose the election one day because we can't be in power forever. These folks don't know what it means to build a nation. They will come, and all the gains that we may make, the legacy of President Mahama and the NDC, they will derail everything again. And then who comes back and start all over again? So what's the common sense in it? In thinking that, oh, forget about it and let him live. No, they can't live. They must account for every dollar, every penny. Okay, the only way you fix a problem is sometimes by giving the people the taste of their own medicine. They learn hardcore lessons from it. So the next time when they come, they will move and think and act differently because they know that if they mess up again and they lose power, there's somebody that will come and check them. But if there's no, checks and balances, and they feel that they are entitled, they have this high level of entitlement. I don't know where they got it from. They can abuse the system anyhow, flip the laws left, right, center, talk to people anyhow, and go scot-free. And then when the NDC comes to power, then all of a sudden everybody's expecting so much from us. Therefore, what we have to do is that, okay, anyone that took a penny from the taxpayer that he was going to do X, Y, and Z, it is time for you to account for it. Account for everything. Let's not spare no one. Let's not spare anyone at all. Any attempt to do this is, look, all the gains that President Mahama will make, God forbid, one day, when these people come to power, they come and tell us, oh, well, we can now even appoint over 200 ministers because, guess what? We've met a good economy. We can...
Yeah, of course. But that's what they did.
Yes, we can, decide to touch this act, touch this, law, whatever. We have the numbers in parliament and do whatever that they want. And what can you do? So punish wrongdoers and let it serve as a deterrent. President Mahama has 4 years. President Mahama has the highest ability to do everything. Look at Parliament. Parliament is NDC. Ghana is literally a one-party state. If I should put it that way, based on the vote that came out during the last election. It's a signal for us to get it right this time. I can't say that we will get the same power, the same vote, the same trust in the future. I can't speak to it. But this is very prophetic, and we must consider it as such that, look, for what you've given us, we will make sure that it's worth your vote. They've given the NDC enough power that go ahead and correct the past. Go ahead and bring sanity to the system. Go ahead, bring justice, bring equity, bring transparency and accountability to the system. Don't spare no one. Spare the rod, spoil the child. These NPP guys, look, they must suffer the consequences. They must. That is, if we truly want to develop this nation, if we let them go free, they are going to come back one day.
Like they did after the Mills, John Mahama.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. They feel entitled. They have no respect. for the ordinary Ghanaian. And if you check their tradition, the EP tradition, and statements, subsequent statements, their actions, etc., clearly they have no respect for the ordinary Ghanaian. And it's high time somebody look them in the face and tell them, look, your time is up. Enough is enough. For what you did yesterday, you pay the price for it. And let them bring their whole supporters. Jail, put all of them behind bars. Put all of them behind bars.
But is that difficult? Is it that straightforward? Because you see, there are some actions you may disagree with, but it will be difficult to prosecute. For example, the person has done something, it's official action.
Yes.
And the person did it within the law. You can disagree with how they approach it, but is there everything that you can prosecute for?
There are many things that these guys did that are outside the laws that govern. If you take the PMF, the Public Financial Management Law, or the Act, they did a lot of things out of that. Governor Anderson, for instance, did a lot of things outside the Bank of Ghana law or Act 618 and then amended 912. 918. 992. There are a lot of things they did outside it. For instance, which law was Anderson using to incur the 60 billion plus loss that he made? Which law was he using to lend to government when the law clearly says that you can't do that more than 5% of the previous year's revenue? Which law was that? Was there any amendment to the law? Was there any permission granted by him or to him by a parliament to do that? It's only parliament that can give you that permission. So, look, when we want to, we can. There are a lot of laws that they broke in doing what they did. And it's on record. Nobody is conjecturing. Senna. And it's only probably out of pity or whatever, like my brother is saying, that some of them will get away with some of the things that they did. Within which law was ECG and its board operating with when they underdeclare revenue by more than 5 billion cedis? Within which law was ECG and its board acting when they again up to now we still don't know where that money went? Of the remaining 10 billion that was to go to the cash waterfall mechanism, they only pay about 6-point-something billion. Which law was that? Under which law? Answer. So let nobody come and tell us that they acted within the law when they were acting. A lot of the things they did, which ended up causing a lot of financial loss to this country, they acted without the law. And we are talking about, these are facts, public facts, that are on record. So that argument is even neither here nor there. Yes, some of them might have taken advantage of some of the loopholes within the system and acted, but a chunk of what we are talking about, they actually blatantly flouted the laws.
You wanted to say something?
Yes, Senator, let me get a little bit technical here. If you sit down, put a budget together, request money from government, it is for a purpose. Okay. You've done your feasibility studies, you know what the outcome is supposed to be, and then you've put in all measures and said, hey, if you give me $1 million, this will be the outcome from a short, medium to a long-term perspective, of which you've taken the money. Okay? Now, based on how the result came about, it has shown that the money you took, what you told us that you were going to use the money for, what we were supposed to get at the end of the day, we couldn't get it.
Okay.
Therefore, these are the actions that comes with it. As a result of the decisions that you made, it is high time. Look, any portfolio given to any person, right? Roles, responsibilities. Okay, the chief director sits at the ministries. The finance director sits there. All of these folks, they sit there. They have certain tasks to accomplish. That's why they are getting paid. Okay? They are supposed to make the best decisions on behalf of the people. They are supposed to make sure that there's value for money. You can't just go request for money and use it anyhow and tell me that you worked within the remit of the law. No, that is just 0.1% of it. I want to make sure that you made the right decisions, and for that matter, the money didn't go down the drain. So if you sat down and watched the money because it didn't come directly from you, we just want to remind you that the money was meant for a purpose. We took the money from somewhere and gave it to you. And since you couldn't assign the task and you allowed it to go the way it went, there's a price to pay. You either cough the money back or you do the time. That's it. Because you can't do this in the private sector. You can't go to the private sector and then think that you can go and request money, they give you the money, and then you use it anyhow, buy gas in your car and be running around, and you don't get to your destination and come back and say, well, I requested for it within the law and I had it, but you couldn't get to your destination and you want to be spared. No, you're not going to get away with it. So must we insist that every public servant, every civil servant who's paid by the taxpayer, who takes money from the KIA, who takes money from the carpenter, who takes money from the finance person, the marketer, account for everything. Because at the end of the day, that's why they ask that question. We pay so much taxes, but we don't see the result on the ground. Simply because there are people who refuse to get the job done. By virtue of their position, they take the money and they think that they can do what they want and go scot-free. We must change that cycle.
So now let me add a point of information to what my brother just said.
Okay.
You see, what a lot of people don't know is that the budget as it is a bill. The budget statement is,
it's
we
passed
call
as a
it
law.
appropriations bill. And it's passed as a law and it become an act of parliament, which is a law. Now, the law, which is the act, says that this is the maximum, because it's a budget, this is the maximum amount you can spend within the remit of that law or with the remit of that act. Before you can spend any extra peswa outside of that appropriation, you need to go back to Parliament and ask for permission. But what happens every year in, year out? Institutions, ministries, agencies overspend their budgets without going back to Parliament for approval. The ministers will not go back to Parliament for approval. Yet, nothing is done to them. We say that this year we are going to construct Zogo Junction to Radio Gold Road, and it's going to cost the taxpayer, let's say, 10 million cedis. At the end of the day, it is included in that budget. The people of Ghana, through their representatives in Parliament, approve that amount. When the Auditor General, the Controller and Accountant General, reconcile our accounts, the Auditor General vetted the accounts, that 10 million is spent. It's spent, declared spent. Yet the road is as it is. Year in, year out, it happens. Yet people walk free in this country. Are they operating within the remits of the law? So now, are you getting the point of it? So what ARNOLD is saying, if we insist that the right thing is done within the remits of the law, some of the burdens, the wastage that we are seeing, the unnecessary debts that we keep incurring. Because at the end of the day, why should contractors still be crying for their money? Well, we budgeted for that. Disbursements mostly are made because the agencies, the ministries actually overspend. Take any of the Auditor General's reports. Most of the ministries overspend their budgets. Yet they see all those people. Why? Why, Senna? Why?
Well, we need to take one last break. One thing that I would like them to look at is that one of the most fascinating things I've ever heard was still with the ECG, when they went to buy something for 500,000 rice in Ghana. They leave the tea at the port for so long, accumulate demurrage, they decide that we can't pay. The people go and auction the thing for $500,000. They auction it for 100,000 cedis. The ECG goes back to the person and say, sell for me for $300,000. So that's those.
Is it a criminal enterprise?
ECG,
being run in Ghana.
Well, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. From Hisense, and of course, they'll give you quality, durability, energy efficiency, affordability, style, and technology. The best, all the best. Yeah. Call them on 0302 550000 or visit their website hisense.com.gh. Also, don't forget to follow Hisense on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Hisense has everyday prices for the everyday person. And of course, I have to come and conclude with my panelists. ARNOLD will be back here. But you are in town, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
For
Yes.
a while. Are you looking for a green letter? Your appearance and why you're looking? But it's a harmless question.
Oh yes, it's a very harmless question. When I see one, I'll take it.
When you see one, you take it.
Yes, when I see one, I'll take it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Specific?
Sinner. I'll get back to you.
You'll get back to
I'll
me.
get back to you.
I see.
Put the first one on me.
Well, but if you first of all, the budget, what caught your attention the most?
I would say, let me also say, I think the gold board.
The gold board, really?
It's a big deal.
Okay.
It's a big deal because, Senna, it's high time we get what we deserve as a nation from our natural resources.
Okay.
And since independence, we've always been shortchanged. The gold board, in my candid opinion, seeks to streamline the small-scale mining sector in terms of revenue generation, so we don't keep losing the amount of money that we've been losing. What the government is saying is that I would want to buy them. From the small-scale miners.
Okay.
It is to cut down, if not to eliminate, the smuggling. The amount of gold that are smuggled and the amount of money that we lose, I forgot the figure. I think I saw it somewhere yesterday. It's super huge.
Yeah.
It's super huge. And if government streamline this, okay, and has the first rights to purchase, what it means is that the government will have that huge level of stability. The government would have equity. The government would have something that they can hold on and go to the international market to, to strengthen our city. So for me, it's a very big deal.
The gold board.
The gold board, we needed it even like yesterday. And God bless whoever that came up with that decision.
The idea.
Yeah, it's a very great one.
I see.
So yes, that part. But overall, the fact that the funds are going to the Ghanaian people, to indigenous businesses, empowerment basically, and touching on sensitive areas. Our girls in school, they are going to get free pads, the first year school, what do you call it? Was free fee stress, for the first year tertiary students. Considering the type of economy that we've inherited and what Ghanaians have been through, this will ease a lot of pressures on parents. You see, sometimes, right, to those that may be in a better position, they may think that, why are you giving this? Why are you giving that? Why are you giving this? But you don't know those on the other side, how they feel. the states that they are in and what their needs are, right? That is why it is always good to use your weakest link to judge your strength. Use your weakest link to judge your strength, because it will let you know what you're really dealing with.
Okay.
Therefore, for me, this budget is everything that we need to propel us to the next level.
Okay.
The implementation is what all of us would have to keep an eye on.
Okay.
This will bring create a lot of jobs. It will create a lot of jobs, you know. And for me, when it comes to job creation, I believe that it has to be PPP, public-private partnership.
Okay.
You know, the government is to create that environment for the private sector to explore the opportunities that the state has, then also to give opportunities to the ordinary Ghanaian. Okay? And therefore, this partnership, this budget seeks to bridge that gap, bring them together. It seeks to bring them together, the private sector together, by saying that I am investing so much in indigenous businesses, in empowering our local people.
Okay.
Therefore, come on board, look at what we are providing, and see what you can also do. Because that private sector, they exist for profit purposes, so they can pay more taxes. They exist to employ. You know, government is not there to make profit. It's to provide services, security, etc., etc. But the private sector, they have the infrastructure primarily to make profit. And by so doing means that they are going to absorb a lot of human capital to be able to do so.
Okay.
So create that enabling environment so that the private sector can have room, that relief, to be able to bring in more people to get the job done for all of us.
Okay. Okay. Albert, of course, I think as for the budget matter, it needs a much more comprehensive discussion. Albert, for you, your takeaway from the budget?
For me, my takeaway is actually the joy from the fact that for the first time in a very long time, it's not a budget that is going to cause inflation.
Okay.
For the simple reason that no new taxes were introduced. A significant number of them were actually taken off, which should, reduce cost of goods and services in the long run. And then even where the little bit in the mining sector was increased, that's not going to affect the ordinary citizen.
Okay.
So for the first time in a very long time, this is a budget which actually is going to put money in the pockets of people, even just on the surface of it. Because, for instance, if you're going to pay, you are going to send money to your old girl, like say 1,000 cedis, and 100 cedis is going to go off, which means that you end up sending her 900 cedis. You end up sending her the entire 1,000 cedis, which means that the additional 100 cedis is added to whatever you are sending to her. Is that not the joy? Or would that not be to her joy? Yes, so for the first time in a very long time, that, you know, when we were growing up, and then or even the average Ghanaian, when they hear a budget is ready, it means that goods and services are going to, prices of goods and services are going to go up. But for the first time in the history of Ghana, or for the first time in a very long time, that's not going to happen. So that is in itself is a very great thing. Then again, I'm also happy that a lot of focus is also being paid to agriculture and food security. Okay. You know, so the Ankoko in Kitikiti and Feed Ghana, for instance, is allocated 924 million cedis. Okay. That is significant. That's also going to create a lot of jobs for the average Ghanaian. You know, and then it also means that local production is also going to be boosted significantly. So on the whole, it's a promising budget. Once we, like my brother said, we focus and then we implement it to the latter, then I think a lot of joy. Even just on the surface of it, levy being out.
Emissions levy out,
betting tax. Those are all monies automatically that will remain in the pockets of Ghanaians without the Australian government taking anything away from them.
Thank you. Thank you, Albert. Thank you. Nice to see you, Arnold.
Yeah, nice to see you too, Senna. Let me say a very good morning to one of our RCs, we call them respected comrades, Alpha Osudate. He's
Alpha.
yes,
Osudate.
yes, Alpha Osudate. He's one of the smartest, human capital that I think that Ghana would be proud of in the future. Yes, I'll tell you more about this gentleman.
He's in Ghana or
yes,
in the US?
No, he's in Ghana at this
He's in
moment.
Ghana?
Yes.
Oh, great.
He's a very smart man.
Okay, because when you say one of the smartest human capital, because you are president of NDC Pro Forum, I assume that most of your...
Oh, no, he's
in the US, but he came with you?
Yes, he came, he came with me, and he has some great ideas that, the health ministry will be proud to hear.
Is he interested in staying and implementing those ideas?
Yes.
Because most people tend to find our system quite, what do you call it, inhibitive of that kind of creative thinking. So they prefer that they stay there and whatever monies they are earning so that they can get opportunity to rather implement those ideas.
Out there too, they ask us the same question, that why do we have all these fine brains and we're not helping our country, Ghana? Out there you find Ghanaians at the top portfolios, and they are always willing to come and do something. But they get here and for whatever reason, the same opportunities that are given there for them to do what they want to do. Here, they'll tell this is Ghana.
You can't go that far. That's quite interesting.
Let me say happy birthday to one of our other listeners, Oliver Kokolochu.
Oh, okay. Hey. Happy birthday. Yes. Happy birthday. He went to the same senior high school as myself.
Oh, okay.
So happy birthday to him.
I see.
Yes.
Right.
He went to my town, Sugakova, the senior high school.
A very nice, sharp brains.
It's a fantastic place. Anyway, so happy birthday to you. And good morning. Since you're talking about Comrade Alenja, I haven't seen him in quite a while. He came to Ghana. I'm sure he has left. He didn't even pass by to say. What?
Oh, yeah, it's a different Alija.
Oh, no, Comrade Richard Alenja.
Okay.
Yes. Good morning.
I'll ask him to report.
Good morning to him. Good morning to you. Thank you very much. We're back tomorrow with another edition of the show. A big thank you to Kofi Emmanuel, who led our production for today. And I just saw Eric coming. And of course, my co-host, the animal rights lawyer, Nancy Amalewski Kelly-Bimpe. Facebook Live is produced by Alaska B. Don't forget, 1 p.m. Pampaso is on with Ransford Kwesi Boache. But coming up next is a mid-morning show. We'll be followed by sports at 30 minutes past 11. But now, the king of mid-morning will take over with the mid-morning show. Ochami Bajumba is his name.
You've been told the station is gold, never gets cold.